Welcome back to Well House Midweek Minis. This is your ghost of a host with the most, Shanna.
And I'm not Puckwa PJ this week. I'm left-right PJ. Because I'm obsessed.
Tonight is episode 5 in our midweek mini episodes. Before we begin, I have a joke for you, Puckwa PJ.
I'm ready.
I was walking along the other day, and on the road, I saw a small baby ghost. Although, thinking about it, it might have been a handkerchief.
Yeah.
No!
You gotta keep that in, though.
No. I'm trying to be a professional. Go away. Get.
It's midweek mini.
I don't care.
Let him in.
This is professional.
He wants to be a podcaster.
No, he doesn't.
A podcatter. He wants to be a podcatter.
Go away, cat. I love you. Go away.
So why left-right PJ, you ask?
I didn't ask, but you can tell me.
So, it is a creepypasta story. And the game is simple on the left-right game. You get in your car, and you take the first left you see. And then you take the first right you see. And you just keep doing that.
Binks does not approve.
And eventually, you'll get to a point where you cross over into a different place, in a different time. And weird stuff starts to happen.
Like a cat meowing?
Yep. And it gets real creepy real fast. That's it. I suggest you listen to it or read it. It started as a short story on Reddit and on No Sleep. And
when I drive to work, I turn left, then I turn right.
Yep.
Then I turn right again.
See, you broke the pattern.
And then I turn right again. And then I turn left. Then I turn left. Then I turn left. And then I pull my parking spot.
Wow.
There you
But
go.
you have to take the first one that pops up. And it has to be left, right, left, right, left, right. Like, you can't do left 2 times. You break the pattern.
That just seems wildly unhelpful. Anyway.
It's terrifying. You gotta read it or listen to the podcast.
That's what you say. I am doing this episode for Stephen Smith. Because he was in the Navy.
All right.
To begin this episode, I would like to read a short poem to get us in the mood for tonight's feature on ghost ships. It's called The Cryptic Sea by Stuart Stafford. Walk free through Jailer's Gate, sail to where corporeal forms fade, no longer seen as a common cut purse, now in a navigational cut and thrust. Now how the ocean heaves and boils, swirling into towering vortex coils, with hideous creatures at every base, bearing the haunting kraken's face. Great ghost ships groan from the mist, and balls of light form fast betwixt. The horizon and the sea spray foam, save us all, and set sail for home.
Ooh.
I know. It's good. I found it online.
I did not write this.
I did not. Someone named Stuart did. My references this evening are...
Thank you, Stuart!
...are the Eerie Reader, the Gander, Midwestern Ghosts and Hauntings, NASA Earth Observatory, SeaHistory.org, and Ghost Hunting Pennsylvania by Rosemary Ellen Guiley.
Hey, she returns.
Told you I had to finish this book. Not finish it, but finish one thing in there. So, where do ghosts like to go sailing, Puckwa PJ? Lake Erie. 2 jokes tonight. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Do you want to hear my joke?
No.
Why did the blind man fall down the well?
Because he couldn't see it?
He couldn't see that well.
The name Lake Erie is believed to have originated as a shortened version of the word Iril el Honan, which is a word meaning long-tailed cat in the language of the Iroquois tribe that once lived along the lake's southern shores.
Long-tailed cat.
The name was likely a reference to the fickle, unpredictable, and sometimes violent behavior of the eastern cougar.
Yeah, I was going to say, it sounds like a mountain lion.
You know,
yeah.
Cats. Hence Binks being here. Those characteristics are shared by the lake. You can have water that is as calm as a pond one moment, then within minutes, groups of huge vertical waves can be smashing down on you, separated by intervals of just a few seconds, said Kevin McGee, an engineer at NASA's Glenn Research Center. He also said, the shallowness of the lake actually makes the waves much worse. Storms and waves are probably the number one reason ships sank in Lake Erie. Fun fact, he was also the co-founder of a Cleveland-based group of underwater explorers called Clue, which I think is hilarious. Yes, and they search Lake Erie for shipwrecks. Other common causes
and sea serpents?
No, unfortunately, no.
Or lake
Not officially.
Lake serpents?
Wink. Other common causes are collisions and fires. He said, in fact, we think Lake Erie has a greater density of shipwrecks than virtually anywhere else in the world, even the Bermuda Triangle.
Well.
I know, it's pretty neat. Because of incomplete record keeping, nobody knows the exact number of shipwrecks that have occurred in Lake Erie, but estimates range from 500 to 2,000.
That's a stretch,
Again,
right?
incomplete record keeping.
That's like when the Spartans fought the Persians. Like, it could have been anywhere from 100,000 to 1,000,000. We're not sure.
A lot. More than 300, give or take. According to an Ohio Sea Grant project that documents many of the lake shipwrecks, 277 wrecks have been discovered so far. They are distributed widely throughout the lake, but the western part around Toledo, the Erie Islands, and Cleveland are particularly dense with known wrecks. He also said, McGee that is, one of the remarkable things about Lake Erie and the Great Lakes shipwrecks is how well they are preserved due to the cold, fresh water. Wrecks in salt water start corroding immediately. In the Great Lakes, you can find old wooden ships that are hundreds of years old that look like they just sank.
No, that's cool.
How neat is that? Pretty neat. So we're going to talk about these perfectly preserved ships in a little bit. But Lake Erie has been a source of life, food, survival, commerce, travel, and leisure since the lake assumed its present form after the glaciers from the last ice age began to melt. After early European settlers came to the area, the lake was key to travel, military positioning, fishing, and ice harvesting, trading, shipping, and economic growth. Erie was an important last stop to freedom, too, on the Underground Railroad, and people escaping enslavement traversed the lake to Canada, leaving untold remains within the lake, unfortunately. All of these thousands of years of life along the lake translates to a treasure trove of maritime and cultural objects buried beneath or residing upon the lake bed, which just begs for hauntings. That's right. According to NOAA, that's the NOAA, they're trying to get the area designated the Lake Erie Quadrangle. They're quoted saying, nearly every type of vessel that operated on the Great Lakes during the 19th and 20th centuries is represented in the area being considered for a sanctuary designation. Based on historical records, 196 vessels may have sunk within the Pennsylvania waters of Lake Erie, and 35 of those shipwrecks have been identified. This area also includes the potential for submerged prehistoric sites and historic properties that may be of religious and cultural significance to indigenous nations and tribes. So I appreciate NOAA because they actually include Native Americans too.
And it's not a triangle.
It's a quadrangle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Historically, the Lake Erie Quadrangle, which is approximately 75 miles of shoreline along Erie County, and it contains 6 townships, 2 boroughs, and the city of Erie, and north to the border with Canada as well, has been a very dangerous area of the lake to traverse. Hundreds of ships were lost, sunk, or run aground within the waters, particularly in the area close to the Presqua Isle, where sandbars and constantly shifting land masses make accurate charting difficult and safe navigating nearly impossible. According to Dave Stone and David Frew, authors of The Lake Erie Quadrangle, Waters of Repose, they said, when a storm or other circumstance arose requiring a ship to navigate this area, its captain had little or no information by which to guide his ship. Aside from the difficult geography of the area, there were many other factors at play in the 19th and early 20th centuries that contributed to the remarkable number of shipwrecks in Lake Erie, including lack of lighting, because there's no lighthouses and there's no onboard navigational lighting either, unpredictable water traffic crossing patterns, and primitive methods of weather prediction. However, they were able to catalog 429 ships that were lost in Lake Erie between Canada's Long Point and the Erie Shore dating from 1797 to 1991, with nearly half of those being in Pennsylvania waters. So NOAA's designation proposal states, quote, The known shipwrecks span from the 1838 steamboat Chesapeake to speedboats, tugs, barges, and workboats lost before 1940. The collection includes schooners, brigs and barks, barges and schooner barges, dredges and sandsuckers, fishing tugs and trawlers, and sidewheel steamboats and propellers. Lots of boats. So overall, this creates a hotbed of hauntings, in my opinion. There are many sightings of ghost ships, and I would like to discuss briefly 4 of them, and then do a deep dive into one, and then finish up with Rosemary Ellen Guiley's. No wheels. This isn't SpongeBob.
It's a foghorn.
Would you grow up?
No. You can't make me.
I refuse. Oh, boy.
I just played video games at the Capitol.
Today, I know. Loser.
We beat a senator at Mario Kart.
So proud of you. I think. Proud of your students. Not proud of anyway. So, whole bunch of boats that have sunk. Do you believe in ghost ships? That's a question for you, PJ.
Yeah, I think I do. Because, like, there are late summer nights where I swear I hear the train that ran through town. Like, I swear I still hear it at night sometimes.
So there's like a residual.
Yeah, that energy there. I can't imagine it's a quote intelligent haunt because it's a ship, but the energy I think could still be imprinted on the area for sure.
It'd be really cool. As if the rhyme of the Ancient Mariner actually happened. I'd love to see a boat full of zombie men. And an albatross. Anyway, all right. So the first boat that I want to discuss is the Western Reserve. On an August night in 1892, Benjamin Trudell woke from a sound sleep. He had a nightmare, one that, as a ship captain, proved particularly worrisome. Trudell had dreamt that the Western Reserve, a Cleveland-built steamer and sister ship of the W.H. Gilcher, had sunk in Lake Superior. And it was true. The Western Reserve, sailing across Lake Superior with its owner, Peter Minch, aboard, sank when its mast collapsed onto its deck. It fell beneath the dark Lake Superior seas about 60 miles offshore, taking with it 26 of its 27 occupants. When the Gilcher sank 8 weeks later, an investigation was opened into the steel used in the building of both vessels. Eventually, this led to changes in what types of steel can be used in shipbuilding. But some say they still see the Reserve sailing the seas of Lake Superior to this day. According to some reports, voices and laughter can be heard when the ship is in sight on the largest of the Great Lakes. Right? Creepy. I don't know how to feel about laughter. Voices is fine, but I don't know. So then the Gilcher, the sister ship to the Reserve, another haunted boat, if you will. There was some excitement when the W.H. Gilcher was built in Cleveland in 1891. Why would there be any hoopla over the launching of another Great Lakes coal steamer? Well, the Gilcher was piloting an experimental steel hull. Of course, that excitement wouldn't last very long. A year after it was built, the Gilcher, while carrying a cargo of coal from Buffalo, New York to Milwaukee, entered a cloud of fog while sailing through the Straits of Mackinac. No one aboard the ship would ever be seen or heard from again. According to some reports, the Gilcher has been seen since its physical disappearance. The steamer has apparently been seen sailing through fog near Mackinac Island, just as it did on its fateful voyage in 1892. Those same reports suggest that when the sunlight shines through the fog, the ship's fog whistle sounds.
So,
There's your woo.
Do we know when they sank? Like, what time of year? Because I was just wondering why they investigated the steel. Like, if it got too brittle in the cold?
No, because it's too heavy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Experimental heavy front end. They never used it again. So after the Mackinac, loss, so when the Gilcher goes down, that was it. Like the glitcher kind of
Gotcha.
The glitches. Is that what I say? Glitches.
It glitched?
I guess, yeah. It's lost in time.
It glitched right through the water.
I think I've been saying Gilcher, but I meant glitcher. Listen, it's late. I'm not gonna go back. So the third one then is the SS Bannockburn. It's a terrible name.
That is an interesting name.
Bannockburn. There's a reason for the name, though. So, one of the spookier Great Lakes ghost ship tales is that of the SS Bannockburn, which sank in 1902 while sailing in Lake Superior. The Bannockburn left Thunder Bay on Michigan's upper right-hand side, making its way north into the northmost of the Great Lakes when it ran aground, according to some accounts. Others reported that it's not entirely known what happened, although it's possible it was stranded on Caribou Island. Legends have it that the Bannockburn, which was nicknamed as the Flying Dutchman of Lake Superior, can be seen today sailing back and forth between Port Austin on the top of Michigan's Thumb and the Sulaks of Lake Superior. And there's lots of people who have said they've seen the Flying Dutchman of Lake Superior. Like, it's one of the most documented boats.
That's cool.
Ghost ships, I will. It was named after the person's family member. It was her last name, by the way.
Oh, okay. Well, I figured it was the last name.
Terrible name, Bannockburn. But yeah, so I'd be interested to see the Flying Dutchman, because it's just kind of fun to say the Flying Dutchman of Lake Superior. But it's very well seen and it's like documented. So, all right, my fourth one is the Erie Board of Trade. Another ghost ship reportedly sailing the Great Lakes is the Erie Board of Trade, an 1800s era schooner that some believe was itself sunk by a ghost.
What?
Uh-huh. According to the maritime tale, a crewman was sent to the ship's mast to serve as the ship's watchman. While the chair used to sit in was knowingly unsafe, the captain ordered the crewman to do it anyway, and the crewman ultimately fell to his death. So yeah, they need this guy to go up to the ship's mast to check out
go up
his
to the
watchman,
crow's nest.
and they're just like, yeah, we know it's unsafe, but up you go, shoo shoo.
No, I don't want to go.
It's not safe. I don't care.
I'm afraid of heights.
I heard it's unsafe. That's too bad. So he
My
falls.
foot fell through it last time.
Aww. The crewman was later reportedly seen around the deck of the ship, and later the ship disappeared after it set sail on Lake Huron. It has never been seen again. The story goes that a few days out from Cleveland and Saginaw Bay on Lake Huron, the Erie Board of Trade had to anchor because the winds had died out. The captain set the crew busy cleaning and making repairs to the ship. He ordered a fairly new young crewman to scrape the topmasts. All of the crew had known that the rope to the boatswain's chair was rather ragged and was dangerous to use. However, the captain sent the crewman up the mast to the chair anyway. Not long after he reached the top, the rope broke and the crewman came crashing down to the deck along with the chair and rigging. He remained alive long enough only to curse the captain of the Erie Board of Trade. On the remaining 3 days of the voyage, the crew claimed to have been haunted by the ghost of the dead crewman who tumbled to his death. Uttering his curse over and over, appearing as a white form, materializing on deck, and then settling on the spot where the unfortunate crewman had ultimately died. The ship made port, and many crew had enough of the hauntings and left the ship. They're like, nope, we out. However, the captain remained.
He keeps telling us not to go up there. I need you to go up the mast. No, don't do it.
It's the worst haunting ever. So obnoxious. Anyway, the captain remained, and the Erie Board of Trade took on its load of coal and headed back out into Lake Huron. And then the ship was never seen again. But the ship I want to spend most of my time on is the Cornelia B. Windiet.
Literally?
No.
You spend some time on
you
it?
Can't. It's a ghost ship.
Mm.
The Cornelia B. Windiet earned the nickname the Great Lakes Ghost Ship, not because people on other vessels saw the late 19th century schooner still sailing in the foggy seas on Lake Huron, but because it simply vanished one night in November 1875. Built in 1874, so it was on for only a year.
Oh, my. Okay.
The Windiet ran cargo on the lakes for a year before one night when it was on its way to deliver 21,000 bushels of wheat to Buffalo, New York. It never made it, according to the Herald Times reporter. The ship's crew of 9 were never seen or heard from again. For years, nothing was known about the Windiet, but nearly a century after its disappearance, divers found the ship in Lake Huron near Thunder Bay. Standing upright in less than 200 feet of water, the Windiet was found with its masts out and its cargo preserved in the cold water. As mentioned before, the cold, fresh lake water has preserved thousands of shipwrecks so well that it appears as if they have been frozen in time. In the ocean, much of the wood and iron of shipwrecks is destroyed by small wood-eating organisms or corroded by salts, leaving little behind for archaeologists to study. In the Great Lakes, however, it isn't unusual to find a wooden ship from the 19th century sitting on the lake bottom with its hull and cargo intact. A good example is the strange case of the schooner Cornelia B. Windiett. In 1875, the ship, a three-masted grain schooner, sank with all hands during a late-season storm on Lake Huron. Today, the schooner rests 180 feet below the surface, remarkably preserved. Her masts are still standing and her cargo of grain remains stowed in the hold, making her a time capsule from over 130 years ago. Even though none of her crew survived to tell us what happened that day, the Windiett story can be uncovered through archaeology. Maritime archaeologists from the Thunder Bay National Marine Sanctuary have documented the Windiett with drawings, measurements, photographs, and video. Back on shore, they studied the clues gathered from the wreck site along with documents from the sanctuary's research collection to hypothesize why the ship sank. So port records stated that the cargo was, in fact, overloaded. The Windiett could typically carry 16,000 bushels, but that had been exceeded to 21,000 for the sake of course, the bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
The preserved grain is still in the hold, and you can see it's packed up to the deck beams, so they have way too much on the boat. In addition to an overloaded cargo, the crew had to battle the elements. Known as the deadliest month on the Great Lakes, November's weather is unforgiving and unpredictable. The Windiett's final voyage was during the final weeks of the shipping season. But there were great profits to be had if the crew could get one last delivery in before docking for winter. Historical weather patterns, along with the condition of the ship, helped researchers understand the final hours of the Cornelia B. Windiett. As waves crashed over the deck of the wooden vessel, the water froze. Layer by layer, it became encased in ice. So the crew lost all control, and the vessel slowly sank to the bottom of the lake, landing upright and in its near perfect condition.
Wow.
Could you imagine being one of the crewmen on that boat and watching a layer upon layer of ice and knowing there's nothing you can do?
Yeah.
You just start sinking.
Yeah, at one point you're just like, we're just gonna lower the lifeboat. We're gone.
It's encased in ice. You can't. It's frozen. Sorry. Start chiseling.
We're gonna walk
on the ice all the way back.
Yep.
Crew members on other ships sailing the lake swear they see the Cornelia B. Windiett ship in its ghostly form silently gliding through the waters of Lake Huron, and they see it all the time.
Wow, that's cool.
So with that, I want to read the story out of Rosemary Guiley's book. It comes after the Pittsburgh Playhouse, and it's called Spotlight on Ghosts, Ghost Ships, and Lake Spirits of Erie.
Okay.
You ready to be scared?
I'm ready.
Or be spooked?
Yes.
All right. Phantom ships ply the waters of the world everywhere. Oceans, seas, lakes, and rivers. Many a sailor has seen them, grim testimonies to tragedies at the hands of water and weather, and sometimes war. The most haunted waterways of America are the Great Lakes, where fast-rising, powerful storms can sink even a huge ship in minutes. Lake Erie, considered one of the most treacherous of the Great Lakes, has a number of ghostly ships sailing on journeys that never end. Several ghost ships were the victims of a steel ship named the Northern Queen, commissioned in 1889. The Northern Queen somehow accidentally rammed and sank 3 ships on Lakes Erie and Huron.
Sorry.
Oopsie-doodle.
Sorry.
So it sank the...
Oh, jeez, did I hit you? Oh, my gosh. It's like when you bump into someone. Oh, no.
Oopsie. Watch out. So it sank...
Where did you come from?
Just read. I didn't see you there. This lake is lots of space.
They pop up from behind.
So
Hi!
The Fayette Brown, the North Star, and the Grammar were all sunk accidentally by the Northern Queen.
The Grammar?
The Grammar, yeah.
Okay.
They don't like grammar, apparently. And other excuses. Bad judgment, fog, and unknown factors were at play. In the 1920s, the Northern Queen fell victim herself, sinking in a storm. The ship was raised and cut into scrap. That's what you get, Northern Queen.
Grammar police got it.
Another ghost ship is the Radiant, a schooner that set out across Lake Erie and vanished without explanation or trace. On December 1909, The Marquette and Bessemer No. 2, a car ferry loaded with 30 rail cars of coal and steel, went down in a storm, taking all hands with her. The ship was bound for Port Stanley, a Canadian port, and nearly made it. A sudden storm and high winds prevented it from making safe harbor, and those on the shore could hear the shrill sounds of its distress signal. The ship turned back to Ohio, but never made it there either. 3 days after the ship went down, search parties discovered a lone lifeboat with 9 frozen corpses in it. So they tried to use a lifeboat, but they froze.
See, it's hard for me because, like, we don't live near the Great Lakes or anything, so it's hard for me to imagine a lake so big that you just can't make it to shore.
I know.
You know?
Think the ocean, honey.
I guess, yeah. It's massive.
Since then, the ghostly, old-fashioned whistle of the ship is heard by sailors on other ships, and its phantom form has been seen slowly crawling back and forth across the lake as its phantom crew search in vain for safety. 2 islands in Lake Erie are haunted. Kelly Island, mined for limestone, was the site of a mine explosion in the 1840s that killed many miners. Sailors traveling around the island claimed that ghosts of the dead men tore holes in the bottoms of their ships. So, move aside, sirens. We got ghosts instead. And the other island is Johnson Island. It was used as a prison camp for Confederate soldiers during the Civil War. At its peak, it held about 15,000 prisoners. Many died in the inhospitable climate. Their ghosts create a sense of unease on the island, and some visitors say that they hear the sounds of Dixie being played. Pretty neat, huh?
That's really cool.
I know. I want to go there now. But that's all I have for you about ghost ships on the Great Lakes. Did you like it?
I did.
Thank
I think that's
you.
really cool.
Thank you. I worked very hard. I typed this whole script. I felt so proud of it. Because you know what? I make scripts.
And you didn't share it with me.
No, I
so
did not. I
couldn't read it.
refused. No scripts for you. Do you want to say anything to our listeners?
No.
Okay.
That's it. That's all you get, listeners.
Well, there you go. Steven Smith, I told you I had a Ghost Ships story for you. So enjoy. And to everyone else, thank you for listening to the Well House Exorcism. Find us on Instagram as Well House Exorcism, all one word. Find us on Twitter/X or on Facebook under Games Overboard, because again, we are a subsidiary of Games Overboard.
Yep.
Feel free to hop on our website as well, which is just gamesoverboard.com. Please email us. We want to hear from you.
And most importantly, spread the word. Leave us a rating on Spotify or iTunes. Just tell your friends about it.
Honestly, please leave us a rating on Spotify. I just really, really want to make this my full-time job. And we're getting closer and closer. Tell your friends. Make them listen to us.
Yes,
Anyway.
Yes, please spread the word, though. Every little bit helps, and every new listener helps, for sure.
And we're soon going to have a giveaway.
Yeah, we're getting close to 20,000.
It's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
So as always, my spooky listeners, think spooky thoughts.